What's up, everybody? We're going to go over the 10-minute mobility routine that you can perform at home, and we're going to go ahead and get started. If you get into this late, obviously, you can just try to start where you left off. All right, so you can pause it, you can watch it later. I'm sure some of you aren't going to be live, but that's fine. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start standing. Spread the floor apart with the feet. Grip the floor. Create irradiation in the quads, the stomach, chest, the arms, squeezing the fists. Then from here, drop the neck down. Rotate, bend, extend back. Look over the other shoulder, and then scrape the chin across. One more. All the way around. There we go, 2 times the other way. Just trying to find a full circle of the neck, squeezing the whole body. Only thing that's moving is the neck. And what you're trying to do is trying to find the space in that circle. So you're trying to create a full circle with the chin and the neck. You can go either way. You can go as many times as you want. All right, now we're going to just notice if there was any pain. So if you were bending into a side, you felt pain, just remember that. Don't force yourself through any of the pains of any of the circles. So let's just say that your shoulder, you're trying to do a shoulder circle like this, but maybe your circle looks like this, okay, just to avoid pain, okay? So don't go through any pain when you're going through these mobility exercises, okay? So now we'll go with the spine. The thoracic spine, we'll start from here to here. We're gonna try to keep our shoulders behind our hips. So a lot of times you see people go like, we're gonna bend down like this. We're actually gonna try to keep those shoulders in line with the hips as we flex down. Okay, so when we flex down, it's gonna look like this. And then we're gonna rotate, bend into the side, extend into that spot, really fire those muscles in the lower back, rotate, bend, flex forward, and then just continue that circle. Rotate, bend, and then other way. Rotate, bend, extend back, rotate, bend, flex forward. Just rotate, bend, extend, rotate, bend, flex forward. So that would be the thoracic spine. So we started with the cervical neck, or the cervical spine to the neck. We go to the thoracic spine. Now we're going to go with the glenohumeral joint. Okay, so the ball and socket joint, the humerus attaches to the shoulder girdle, which is clavicle, which runs across here, sternum, okay, your rib cage, protects your heart, and then you have your scapula, which are your wing bones on each side, and your wing bone kind of takes that ball and socket joint and allows you to create that circle. So when people say, let's do some shoulder circles, and they go like this, absolutely no control. So you're not communicating with the tissues that you're trying to change. So that's what mobility training is. It's motor control. So now we're going to try to focus on controlling that. We'll get in the kneeling position. This will create a little bit more radiation. So my left foot's forward, right hand will go forward. Opposite arm squeezing the fist. Start with flexion. And then I'm going to turn my bicep forward. My palm will start facing out. And I'm going to reach back, draw a circle. As I reach back, keep twisting into internal rotation so that when you get all the way down to the side of the body, back of the hands next to the side. And then from here, drive back, unwind, draw a circle all the way up and across the body and down. And then one more circle, try it with a closed fist. Squeeze, bicep turns forward, Keep internally rotating or drawing that circle, and then back, externally rotate, unwind all the way across. And then switch. Hold right here, first roadblock. Make sure your opposite arm and hand is squeezing. Turn the bicep forward. Try not to bring the neck forward and try not to open up the chest as we draw that circle. Hold here. Internally rotate. Try not to jack the scapula up. And then draw that circle all the way around. Back of the hand next to the side. And then extend. Keep the chin down and in. Externally rotate the shoulder all the way up, across. So this will be our horizontal adduction, flexion, horizontal abduction, and then adduction with internal rotation, extension, external rotation, axial rotation, flexion, and across the body. That's your horizontal adduction. So that's glenohumeral joint or your shoulder. Are going to get the scapula, the wing bones. That allows you to shrug your shoulders up and down, back and forward. Palms will be next to the sides. Kind of glue them to your sides. The problem with this is when people will bend their elbows and their arms will leave their sides. So pretend you have a $100 bill strapped here. You're trying to keep it glued. It's going to go down, back, up, forward, down, back, up, forward, and then forward and up, back, down, forward, up, back, down. So that's your retraction, elevation, protraction, depression. You could also do that with your arms out like this. Just remember, trying to keep your elbows straight, keep your fists squeezed. Remember, all of these controlled articular rotations, we call them CARs. We're always using kind of 30% of our body to like make sure that we're using bile flow or like the entire body at the same time. Elbows, so bend your elbows at a 90-degree angle. Supinate the palms, like you're holding soup. Supine like you're on your back, and then prone like you're on your stomach, or pronation with the wrists. Okay? So your supination, pronation, extension, and flexion. Okay? We're going to start with flexion and supination. Then we're going to pronate and then extend, push away. Palms face up, flex, and then push down. And then from here, flex, supinate, extend. Pronate, flex, supinate, extend. And then from here, we're going to tee out the arms, internally rotate, and then externally rotate. So pretend that your elbow eyes have an X right here. And you can see that X, and then we're going to turn that X up, and we're going to try to turn that X down. So that'd be internal rotation, thumbs down, then external rotation, thumbs back. You can open it up, internally rotate it. You can go all the way back to your extension, and then relax. Okay, so we got the neck, thoracic spine, glenohumeral, scapula, elbow. Now we're going to get the wrist. So palms will face down. Try to get my. If you can do a wrist extension test, you should be able to get it flat like that. Okay, an extension test there. If you can't get it flat, it's going to be really hard for you to do any type of handstand push-ups push-ups in general, but if you really want to injure your wrist, do a handstand push-up without wrist extension. So from here, you can go in, all the way up, out, and then down. So wrist adduct, go in, flex, abduct, go out, and then go down. And then go the other way, all the way around. One more circle, everything is still squeezed, and then all the way down. And then relax, okay? So hip is good standing. It can be hard on the knees, on the hands and knees. I think it's a little bit better to go standing. You can go standing, you can go hands and knees like this, or you can go sideline like this. Okay, so whatever you do, it's really up to you. You can use the barrier like a wall, push into, and then you can go on the outside, or you can go on the inside. Okay, so I really like to push into a wall and do the hip on the hip closest to the wall. So I'll push into the wall, flex the hip up, challenge myself by externally rotating the hip so that that foot goes toward opposite shoulder, trying to pull that foot up. And then from here, foot goes under the knee, the abduct the knee, the hip, so the femur shoots out. And then I'm gonna bring my knee down as my foot goes up. As I do that, I'm gonna swing my hip back into extension. And then I'm gonna bring the knee right next to the knee. Keep that knee bent. Now I'm gonna go the opposite way. Extend, abduct, externally rotate, and then flexion with the external hip rotation. And then back out, push into the wall, squeeze fist, extension, back and around, push into the wall, and slowly come down. Find a different wall, same thing, other side, flex the hip up, squeeze the fist, abduct, drop the foot, knee goes back into extension, extension, abduct, and flexion. Really try to pull that foot up toward the shoulder, and then back out. Drop the knee as the foot goes up, swing it around, push into the wall, come back forward, and slowly bring it down. Okay, so that's the hip. The knee, you can hold on to something, but all we're going to do is we're going to bend the knee and turn the foot out, and really bend the knee so that the heel goes toward the glute. So really kind of contract that. Turn the foot out, then extend, turn the foot in, bend, out, push away, in, pull up. Now we're going to keep the foot in, extend, turn the foot out, bend. Notice that the knee is next to the other knee. It's not going forward, it's not going back. Turn the foot out, extend, turn the foot in, bend. Okay, switch side. Bend the knee first, heel to glute, turn the foot out. You'll feel that fire right in the hamstring, and then extend. Turn the foot in, bend, turn the foot out, extend. Turn the foot out, bend, turn the foot in, extend. Out, bend, in, and then extend. And then from here, you want to try to relax the leg. This is the only car controlled articular rotation that we don't keep the body tight. So option one, lean up against a wall. Make sure the knee is relaxed, and you should be able to move it, okay? If that doesn't work, back against the wall, just like that. And then more control you get, you don't need support, you can just go like this. So what we're gonna do is push that knee cap in a 360-degree circle. Just checking for any type of non-movement or cracking or any pain. And then switching side. And if there is any lack of movement, feeling stuck or pain, then that's something you want to get assessed. So this is the patella, the kneecap, floating bone. It's also a joint. You still have to take care of it. Ankle, you can push into a wall, hold on to a side, or you can just try to balance. Point the toe, squeeze quad, squeeze fist, turn the foot out, and go up, turn the foot in, and then go down. Just creating that circle with the foot. And then go around 3 times, and then go around the other way, all the way up and around. Go super slow. And you're gonna have more control with more balance. So although I was doing that as a challenge, I wouldn't recommend that. And also, just, this is one of my favorite ways too. So I'll get the other way like this. Going very slow, just tracing a circle with that ankle, using all the muscles in that lower limb. And then from here, I can stand up for my last one, getting my toes, and try to lift all 10 toes off the ground. Lift your toes, all 10 toes off the ground, get them up, and then try to separate the toes, abduct the toes. And then from here, squeeze your toes into the ground, or flex your toes into the ground. Try to grip the ground with your toes. And then opposite, extend the toes, abduct the toes. Now that you're quarantined, your socks should be off, you should be moving your toes. You're gonna get more mechanoreceptors in your feet, which impacts how you walk and move in your posture. So if you have really, if your feet have a lot of mechanoreceptors and you have really good posture when you walk and you have good extension in the big toe, that's going to pay dividends on your knees, your hips, and your back. So it all starts with your feet. Big toe extension, so big toe up, pull that big toe all the way up, as high as it'll go. Higher, 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 hold it. Try not to bring the midline or the middle of the foot off the ground when you do that. And then switch. Big toe down, small toes up. So controlling intrinsic foot strength here, controlling that foot. And then from here, big toe up, small toes down. Hold it, get that big toe up. All toes up, you're gonna piano it down from the pinky to the big toe. And back up. And then back up. Now all toes up, we're gonna try to tap just the big toe on the ground 5 times. And that's it. So we got the toes, got the ankles, the knees, kneecaps, the hips, the spine, the wrists, the elbows, the scapula, the shoulder, and the neck. You can end it with cat-cow, cat-camel, whatever you want to call it. Pounding the back, flexing the back. Now we're getting our lower vertebrae involved. So really Go from an anterior pelvic tilt to a posterior pelvic tilt. Neck is flexed, so you're in full flexion here of the spine. And then going from full flexion to the articulation and segmentation of the coccyx, sacrum, L5 to L1, T12 to T1, and then C7 all the way C1, cervical spine, and then C1 to C7, T1 to T12, and L1 to L5, and then you curl the sacrum and coccyx or your tailbone in, push into the ground, and then squeeze the ground with your abs, and then push the ground apart as you unravel. Again, squeeze the ground with your abs, then push the ground apart, and then round it back one more time. All right, so really covered everything. That's your 10-minute, maybe 15-minute mobility routine you can do every single day. Remember, the only reason why we're doing this is to maintain what you currently have. If you don't currently do this every single day, then you're not going to maintain this unless you do it in some type of way. If you're an athlete and you're reaching into these positions, you may be getting into these positions, okay? But on days off, and you're not working on catching or throwing, you need to be doing these circles. That's why you do them every day, just so you know that you've at least covered it. And once you know that you've covered your full circle, you can rest assured that you've at least understood, okay, maybe I do need to train internal rotation and extension. Maybe I do need to train my wrist better because I'm doing all these handstand push-ups, all these burpees, all these things that are causing repetitive force on our wrists for what function, what purpose is that serving us? So selecting better exercises based on your physiology instead of the exercise program that's required is really most essential. So when you perform your CARs daily, you realize, oh, I have control of my body. I should be setting the exercises and tempos because I'm assessing myself. My hip doesn't feel that well. Maybe I shouldn't be doing weighted hip mobility if my hip is very sore and bothersome. Maybe I need to take it through some hip CARs. Maybe I need to take it through some light locomotor skills for that day. Maybe I don't need to do the glute bridge when my hip hurts, right? So that's why you assess yourself with the morning routine. You understand what exercises to select later in the day. And then if you feel like you need to add more space in your wrists, your elbows, your scapula, or your glenohumeral joint, then what you need to do is train in those areas using isometric loads, using eccentric loads, using overload specificity, and the law of adaptive progression, just like you would any muscle or any system in your body, right? So that's why we have PALs and rails where you can use progressive angular isometric load like a TRX strap, holding on to that, trying to break that TRX strap forward, and then going deeper into my rails contraction. So that's why we use stuff like PALs and rails to kind of build space in your capsule. So the capsule, or where your joints meet, there's a capsule, joint capsule. And in that space is fluid, and there's a lot of nerves that go straight to the brain and say, this is what can occur at the joint and what can occur at the joint. So if you had torn your bicep, or if there was inflammation in your elbow and you couldn't extend your elbow all the way, your joints wouldn't allow it to. It'd be sending all those nerves to the brain. But guess what? If you were if you were like having surgery and if you were put under, your whole body would be fine. You'd be totally relaxed, nothing would happen. So your brain dictates how much muscle spindle goes toward that side of the joint. So for example, if I had a bad knee and I couldn't extend my knee or bend my knee all the way, then that's because the joint capsule is telling the brain not to allow it to. So it's setting the spindle of the muscle fiber tone to tightness. And that's what's ultimately keeping you tight and keeping you tighter. So you have to train the actual capsule in order to actually create more space, okay? So the muscles, the muscles are dictated by the joint capsule. So trying to say stretching your muscles isn't really doing what you think it's doing. You actually have to think about how the joint is placed in the angle, and then you can actually try to improve the space of that joint. Otherwise, you're just guessing. So actually considering the scientific way using functional range systems is really important, because then you can really determine some realistic goals for you in the future. So if you have questions about any of those protocols, let me know, and we'll talk to y'all later. See ya.